Hi, welcome back. We're working on our next signature, and in the last video I had indicated that I was going to give you some homework to do. So in your packet, if you're working with the same books that I'm working with, the core package and then the 22 one-sided pages, you should have a 12 by 12 that has all of these cards on them, if that's what I'm calling them, as cards. I'd like for you to have them cut out, ink them if you're going to ink them, have them ready to go because we will be doing something with these. And then I went in and cut out a full page of these circled embellishments, and I backed them on black cardstock. And if you're going to use a metal die to cut any of this, let me tell you that I hand cut this because I didn't want to cut off these edges that went over. I didn't want to cut them off. What I used on this was a Fisker's curved pair of scissors. I did go to Fisker's website. They no longer have it there, but I did do a Google search, and you can find them on quite a few other websites. But that's what I used to get as clean of a circle cut. So the paper for the backing, the circle die I used was 3 5/8, and that's measuring the inside cut line to the inside cut line. For the black cardstock, I used a circle die that was 3 3/4 from the inside cut line to the inside cut line. And you know you've got a little bit of a metal lip beyond that. So that's why I'm giving you the cut line. And it gives you a nice little blacked edge, and then this will sit in here for those that I want backed. So that's some homework for you that you can kind of get pre-done. I got them all inked and mounted, and I've got them sitting aside so that they're ready to go when we need them. That way you're not having to cut them out for a specific signature that we might be working on. So we're talking about signature. This is what I have kind of set up for that inside left panel. I am using Good Fortune as the round closure for this page. I'm using 2 of the large brass filigrees, and I'm putting mine on opposite corners. You can put yours up here on the same corner, or you can choose not to use them at all, but I do think that they add just a little bit of dressing up to this page. Then down here, this is one of the chipboard, and I went ahead and cut this, and I do believe this was 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 once cut. Let's confirm. Nope, I lied. It's 2 3/8 from cutting edge to mount on the back of this chipboard piece, and then we're going to put that right there, and then this is going to be our front. So we'll go ahead, and then this cut is out of the 22 pack single sided sheet, and you can tell because they're blank on the reverse side. So I cut it so that I had the bird here, and then I came over here and cut from this inside edge to here so that this saying would still line up. Not that you're going to be able to read most of it, but that's what I did. All right, so in here I did something a little different. First off, this is a 12 by 12 sheet out of the 22 pack, and I cut from top to bottom, and then I went over on this side. I came all the way over and went top to bottom again. I wanted this up here in the corner. So then I took 2 of the round embellishments, and I'm going to put one down here. These are going to be tucks. We have plenty of them to play with, a little bit different. Down here we have a fairly large pocket. Now this pocket is using the bottom part of this cut, trying to get the most that we can out of that single sheet of paper. Now my pocket itself measures 2 3/4, and then you will simply cut and edge this in to fit, and it's going to get taped down here. Now I'm trying something different with some of these cutout cards. You have a lot of them that are blank on the back side because they're coming out of the 22 pack, and I've got them cut and separate, but this set came out of the core packet, so they are double-sided. I didn't want to cover up this side. I wanted it as an embellishment, so what I did was I trimmed off all the white all the way around, except I left this 1/4 inch white lip on one side, and it's just going to come in here like so. I'm not backing it on black cardstock, and I thought that the easiest way to do that would be just to put 1/4 inch tape on that 1/4 inch edge and then set it in here, and then that way you've got a fold out for a potential photo. And then down here on the bottom, I cut out one of the sayings. It says, "There is nothing you can't achieve," and that's going to come and sit right down here. All right, so let's go ahead and let's start working on getting this together. I'm going to start giving you some measurements. So this is something else that you could do, is you could go through the sheet and cut these out, but leaving one long cut edge still on there so that we can use it as a tuck. So your inside, this is what I chose to use, and it is out of the core packet. It is going to measure at 8 7/8 across, and then we're going to come in at 8 3/8 in the height. And once again, I am inking all of my edges in black, and I think we might be ready to go. I want to start with this piece first because it's going to have an awful lot to do with the placement of these. So I'm going to go ahead and get, oh, wait a minute, I'm gluing this on. I just totally got myself confused. Make sure I'm putting this on here the right side up because I've already taped the back of it. So now I'll go ahead and take the tape off. I'm going to put it down here. And then I want to put this saying in right here. And I will show you something. I don't know if I've already mentioned it, but I'm going to mention it again. When I'm cutting these out, these round pieces, did I mention this, that I'm using a Fisker's curved pair of scissors that does help to keep a more arched. Now, Fisker's no longer has these on their website. I did check, but I did Google them, and you can find these on several websites. Just check for pricing and then check for your shipping costs on these, because that can make the difference. Might pay a little bit more on one site, but not have to pay shipping, vice versa. But anyway, that's what I use to cut these out, because using these, you're constantly having to stop and trim. So anyways, just wanted to share that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put these on, and they're cutting those the way I did. There's just an ever so slight gap. If you come and bring this right up to the top, little bit, maybe 1/16 of a gap here, and I'm okay with that. I just don't want it bowing because I've come up over that pocket. And then the same thing. All right. So that's what we have so far, and then they open up this way. Okay. Now you're going to cut 2 panels with the same measurements. They're going to be 5 inches, scoring it at a 1/2 inch by the 8 3/8. And then we're going to just mount that right on here. We're going to come right up to that score line, and you might have a little bit of bulk when you come up over this, but it shouldn't be too much. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. Come right up to that score line. Hold it in place. Fold it over. Give it a good burnish. All right, that's what we've got so far. So now what we're going to do is let's go ahead and finish with the inside. We're going to go put these panels down, and then we're going to put these down by just taping a little bit across the bottom. So let's move on and get that done. And I'm going to focus placement on the outside edge because it should line up beautifully with right in front of that score mark that we have right here. And you can see I got a little bit of tape hanging there. I will try and remove that here when we get done. Let's go ahead and let's put this side on. And again, I'm going to focus on the outside edge, and I drop right in front of that score line. And then I'm going to take just a smidgen of tape across the bottom here. I want it up high enough so that it gives it some strength. Come up about 1/4 of an inch. And there we have a nice tuck. Same as over here. I'm going to come up just high enough. Tuck that tape up underneath there. Come up about 1/4 of an inch. All right, so our inside is complete. Now we're going to work on the outside. So on the outside, this came out of the 22 page pack. And I think I mentioned it once before that from this edge here, I cut over to fit. And then I cut from this edge here over for my next fit. We're going to put this piece down first because then we're going to come in and we're going to put this on so that we can place our magnet on this side of the panel. Now this piece was cut from my scraps, so I'm going to place my magnet on here. I'm going to kind of tentatively figure out where I want this. And I'm going to try and mount my magnet right here, about here. So I'm going to hold my thumb there. I'm going to turn it over. My finger matches up so I know right where I want it to be. Take this off. I'm going to put that there. Then I'm going to turn it over again and make sure I've got good placement. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this down. What I'm going to do is open this up so that I can see a little better. I don't like trying to do black up against black. It makes for some interesting alignments. All right. Okay, so this piece was cut from the scraps. I am going to go ahead and put this on here, doesn't matter what direction, and I am going to glue it because if I have to destroy this piece to change that, I can. It's just a little hard to tape a round image, at least for me it is. And I'm going to pull it down here so I can see what I'm doing. Roughly get the same black edge around. All right, so let's add this, let it find its mate. And then I'm going to kind of place this where I want it to be. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of using this edge of the F as my center for putting that on. And you know what might be a good idea? Let me turn this over. And I'm going to come here. And then I'm going to close this and press down. That was a nice, easy, smooth. Now I'm just going to gently slide this so that it will separate from the magnet but not pull up my taped edge. Okay. And now we're going to go ahead and put this one on, but I am going to tape it on. It is so odd to work with paper that has nothing on the back side. I find it interesting, but you know what it does is it eliminates that challenge of, gosh, what side do I use? So I do like that part. Beautiful. So now I'm going to glue this in. Mystery and wonder. And when you cut, or at least when I cut mine on that die cut, this black edge fit beautifully on the inner circle of this 7. Come under here, okay. And then I think I'm still going to add these to their opposite corners, just so that the eye is being drawn into 2 different ends of the signature. Rather than it eye staying here, the eye is going to be drawn here. So let me get... in there, I'm going to hold it right here. I'm going to get my glossy accents out. And then I put little dabs where I need them to be to help fill in. Okay. And then to encourage them to stay, I am going to clamp these down with some bigger alligator clips. Have to be careful what side you're putting the glue on. You could be inadvertently putting it on the wrong side. Excuse the reach. I must have my big ones dedicated someplace else, so I just use a little one. Okay, give it a few seconds here. And let's see. Let's go ahead and get some tape onto the back side. I'm going to use 1/2 inch. This is not that big of a signature as far as for weight-wise, paper-wise. So I'm just going to use 1/2 inch as my border. perimeter, and then I'll put a couple in the center for added strength, and I'm going to use 3/8. All right, so let's make sure those stayed on there. Let's get our book. It feels so light in the beginning, but by the time we get to the end, it's like really heavy. Or it gets heavier, not that it's really heavy. Okay, so we're going to bring this right to the edge because we want to make sure that we are staying out of this gusset right here. So right to the edge. And for me to see that, I do turn it this way so that I can see 3 of the 4 sides. Okay, making sure I am evenly spaced top to bottom. I am right on the edge and push. Get this burnished in there so I don't have any movement. Now I've got to be careful because as I pull this tape up out of here, I don't want to break the seal on the glue. I can always re-glue it, but I'd really rather not because it tends to then make a mess. And then I am going to sneak around here to this side, and I am going to take these off. And then I'll burnish and make sure that I get this down into the book. And there we have it. We have our first signature done. Okay, so you've got a little bit of homework to do. I'd like to have those ready. We'll make things easier for you if you spend the time to trim, cut, get them mounted, get them inked, so they're ready to go when we build our next few signatures. So we'll come back and do this one next. I'll see you then.